Now obviously this isn't ideal or what I had planned as far as going in here and harvesting this all at one time. I would have rather had the chance to. What's up, Lazy Dog fam? I hope everybody out there is having a wonderful day. It is Friday, December 16th here in South Georgia, and it looks like we're finally about to get some real winter weather, or what we call winter weather down here. Probably just normal weather for a lot of y'all this time of year. So I think this Sunday is supposed to get down to 30, and then next weekend is supposed to get really cold, down to 23, and then only back up to 33, so not warming up a whole lot during the day. Not going to worry about next weekend right now, but do have a few things I need to worry about for this Sunday when it's going to get down to 30 degrees. Now usually when we have a freeze coming, I'm not very good about preparing in advance. Not very good about thinking ahead. Okay, what do I need to harvest that could get damaged by the cold? What do I need to cover? I'm usually scrambling to do it, you know, right before dark, the night before it's going to get really cold. But this time, I'm a little bit ahead of schedule, 2 days in advance, going to get prepared. And one of the reasons for that is that sometimes before we get a frost, it could be pretty warm the previous day. And I don't like to have this cover, this frost cover, sitting on stuff if it's kind of warm outside, because it can get too hot underneath there. But it's cold today, going to be cold tomorrow, and going to be cold Sunday, so I can go ahead and get some frost cover in place. So most of the garden work we need to do this afternoon is going to happen in this plot behind me. Not worried about most of the stuff in here, but we do have one thing we need to harvest and one thing we need to cover. So the one thing we need to cover is this row of chocolate habanero peppers here, which we have covered and uncovered about 3 or 4 times already this fall and winter. They're still looking really good, looking nice and green. Might not get a lot of production out of them this winter, and that's fine. I just want to have these plants established and going so they can hit the ground running next spring. So we've just left our hoops in place here and been putting the cover on when we need it, taking it off when we don't need it. We have a stretch of warm weather. Now before we put the covering on today, I need to take care of some of these weeds in here, because those things will really thrive underneath that cover. Got some chickweed between some of those plants. Probably just gonna have to pull that by hand. Even got a little pigweed seed head sitting right there. Don't know what that thing is still doing around this time of year. We're probably gonna have to pluck that out of there too. So I'm gonna get busy doing a little weed plucking here. This chickweed's tough to get out. It's tough to get all of it out of there. Gotta kind of grab the middle of it and just try to get it all out. Once we get this cleaned up, we may actually feed these a little bit, give them a little juice before we put the cover on. Alright, so now that looks a lot better. Got all that stuff hand pulled, hoed, raked out of there, so it's nice and clean and those weeds won't be thriving underneath our frost cover. Now several videos ago we were talking about our chickweed battle in our onion plot, and it's funny, anytime we start talking bad about chickweed or purslane, got a crowd that wants to tell us, you know, oh, that stuff's real good to eat, you should be eating that. Well, here's my thoughts on that. Now if we're in a dire survival situation and food is scarce, yeah, I may start to eat some chickweed and purslane. But you can't tell me that if you had a garden full of kale and collards and mustard, all kind of good groceries back here, that you would rather have chickweed than some of this good lettuce back here. Anyways, back to the task at hand here. Let's give these peppers a little light dose of juice before we cover them again. Give them some of this AgroThrive fruit and flour. Just about, I don't know, 8 to 10 ounces in there. And then fill our bucket up with water here. Ain't got much water pressure right here. I must be kinked up somewhere. Now we got some juice mixed up in our bucket. You just take about that much right there and just pour it around the base of each plant. Can't do it too fast or it'll all run away on you. Kind of slowly pour it on there. I'm still getting it running away from me, ain't I? So we got them weeded, we got them fed. Now it's time to cover them up. So I got my piece of frost protection fabric here that's cut to length for this row. Just been holding on to that one in the back of my buggy as I put it on and take it off throughout this cooler season. Probably gonna be pretty fun putting this on with the way the wind's blowing, but we'll get it. All right, so that wasn't too bad there. I've done this enough this year to where I've finally kind of gotten the hang of it, and it only takes me just a few minutes to put it up or take it down. And while we're out here working with frost protection fabric, it's probably not a bad idea to talk about the different types or the different levels of protection you can get. So I use the Agribon frost protection fabric. There are several other brands out there. I saw the other day where Greenhouse Megastore has a different brand than this, but I've had good luck using the Agribon so far, and it seems to hold up pretty well for me. And as far as the Agribon goes, there's different thicknesses for different levels of frost protection. So the one I'm using on the peppers right now is the AG19, I believe it is, which supposedly gives you about 4 degrees of frost protection. They have thicker ones. If you need even more frost protection, they have a AG30 and an AG50. The price goes up the thicker you get. So once you get to that real thick stuff, it's considerably more expensive than this AG19 we're using right here. So usually the AG19 is good enough for us for as cold as we get down here. But next weekend, when it's supposed to get in the low 20s and not really warm back up that day, I don't think the AG19 is going to be good enough. So I have ordered some more. I ordered some AG30 late last night. I'm hoping it gets here before next weekend, and probably going to use that on the peppers, because if it gets down to 23, the AG19 isn't going to save it. And as far as where to get this stuff, what I'm using right here currently, I bought off Amazon last year, but I noticed last night that Harris Seeds, we get a decent amount of vegetable seeds from them, has a good selection of Agribon fabric, all the different levels and a lot of different lengths. So I actually bought my AG30 from Harris Seeds, and I'm just hoping they'll deliver it in time. So the peppers should be good for another week. Not worried about the cabbage here, not worried about these Brussels sprouts, not worried about the cauliflower because those are still wrapped pretty tight, but we do need to be worried about this broccoli right here. So we're starting to get some pretty decent sized crowns in here, like that one right there. It needs to be harvested today anyways. But we also got some like this that are kind of small. We're gonna have to get those too. So a couple videos ago, when we harvested a bucket full of this broccoli, I talked about one of the reasons why you may want to harvest some of your broccoli early if you have an abundance of it. You know, you might not be able to eat it all, letting it get as big as it's going to get. So harvest a little bit of it early, eat a little bit of it early, leave a few heads to get full size. That way none of it gets seedy or goes bad on you. Another reason to harvest broccoli early would be if you're going to get some freezing temps. I can't cover these 2 rows of broccoli here. If you can cover your broccoli, you definitely need to do that if you're experiencing or going to experience some freezing temps, because it will ruin those heads. They'll be mush the next day if they freeze. So since we've got 30 degrees coming on Sunday, I'm gonna go through here and cut it clean. I'm gonna get all this broccoli out of here. Now, a week or so ago when we harvested some of this broccoli, I used my old trusty dog's bucket right here, and we filled it up with some nice, beautiful broccoli heads. But I'm not gonna use the dog's bucket today. One, because I'm about to cut more broccoli than this dog's bucket will hold. And 2, because I started kind of feeling bad for all you LSU fans out there. So today we're going to use a purple bucket here. I got a good buddy that went to LSU, and he's been sad ever since the dogs put a whooping on his Tigers. He's sad because they playing in the Taco Bell Quesadilla Bowl and the dogs was going to the playoffs. So hopefully this will cheer him back up here, seeing us harvest something in this purple bucket. So we're gonna go through here and do a clean sweep. Gonna get it all. Gonna get all the green magic and all the imperial broccoli we see. So that's all of it right there. We filled up that purple bucket with some beautiful heads. Haven't had a single head get seedy on us this year, which is always a good thing. A lot of good groceries right there. Now there were a few little tiny heads in there that I left. We'll just take a chance on them. There wasn't but 2 or 3 that I saw. Most of them were pretty decent size. Now obviously this isn't ideal or what I had planned as far as going in here and harvesting this all at one time. I would have rather had the chance to stagger the harvest, that way we could enjoy broccoli for several weeks instead of just having a boatload of it at one time. But I'd rather give some away because we can't eat that much broccoli in a week or maybe even 2 weeks. I'd rather give some away than it go bad out here and turn to mush from getting frozen. Now when I'm done with these broccoli plants, what I'll do is I'll come in here with some loppers and cut off those stalks at soil level and chunk these plants in the compost bin. But I'm not quite done with them yet. We still got some beautiful, healthy looking plants out here, and I'm expecting a decent amount of side shoot production on these. So we cut the main head. It won't make another head that big, but we should get some good little smaller heads on the side. And given that we've got two 30-foot rows here, might still be a lot of broccoli to be eaten out of here. So no, it's not ideal for us to have to harvest all this broccoli at one time like we just did, but it's better to have a few small heads of broccoli than it is to have no broccoli. So I'll take this inside, bag it up, put it in the fridge. I'll allocate some for our bellies, and then we'll allocate the rest for any friends and family who want some. And always remember, if you've got a garden still growing this time of year like we do whatever you got to do to protect it if you're getting some freezing temps. Cover what you can cover, run a sprinkler all night if you have to, and harvest some stuff small. That way it doesn't get bitten by the frost. Better to have small groceries than it is no groceries. So I hope you enjoyed the video today, and if you've had to harvest any broccoli, cauliflower, or anything else in your garden early because a freeze was coming, let me know about it in the comments below. As always, you can find links in the description below to any of the products we used or talked about in this video. You can also find links to our affiliate partners. Got some coupon codes for some of those companies so you can take advantage of those discounts. Don't forget to go check out our website, lazydogfarm.com, where we've got our garden blog, recipes, hats, shirts, all kind of good stuff over there. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification button, like, and share, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.
Oh, farewell, by the beauty of your life.